Hey everybody, Stephen Bogren here, Pro Physique, and I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how much water should I drink? So alright everybody, let's really get to it. What's the question, right? How much water a day should I drink? Let me start off by saying that there is a difference between drinking water and drinking fluids. So let's be very clear that this is the RDA for water, okay? So now that we've got that out of the way, let's really talk about water and then some of the other things associated with it and then how that's going to change the amount that you should be drinking every day. Alright, so RDA, recommended daily amount of water intake for females, is going to be 2.7 liters a day. For those of us in the States, that's about 3/4 of a gallon. Now, for men, you're going to get an extra liter, so 3.7 liters a day, which is roughly a gallon of water a day. So the question I always get is how much water should I be drinking? And so remember that the RDA is kind of a minimum amount, and in general, it's going to hit most of the population. However, most of the population does not exercise, most of the population does not work out or work outside, or have a lot of outdoor activities. Maybe they don't live in Florida where it's very hot and humid and you're really sweating a lot, or in say Las Vegas where it's very dry and so it takes a lot of water out of you. And so that's going to range based on things like activity level, where you live, heat, sweat, and a plethora of other reasons, as well as things like alcohol intake, right? So normally when I get the question of how much water should I drink, it's not sort of health related, right? Because we all know that to be healthy, we want to drink a good amount of water, and so we understand that there's that RDA out there. But a lot of times people are wondering about how much water should they drink so that they can perform well. And so this applies in a couple different situations. For competitors, like obviously on show day, you want to get a pump. So you want to fill out during your peak week and up into the show. You want to be able to store glycogen. So water is important for all of those things, right? Our blood volume is directly related to water. And so essentially what happens is when we don't get a lot of water, right? Our kidneys start bringing more water back in, we pee less. The same thing can happen with our electrolytes, sodium, those sorts of things, right? Our hormones change, aldosterone comes up. And so what we'll see is our body reabsorbs more of the water and we pee less. So we still have to pee. We're still losing water through our skin and mouth, salivation, all these things. We still need water to digest, to move through food through the GI tract. And so in general, that RDA is going to cover a lot of those kinds of things, right? The basic necessities of life. However, when you're going to the gym, you're working out hard, you're doing cardio, you're sweating, maybe you're doing cardio outside, that water intake needs to come up. And so we can't talk about water intake without at least mentioning electrolytes. So things like salts, right? Salt, calcium, and anything, especially for us as athletes, that we're going to use for contraction, right? So potassium, magnesium, and then calcium also. Did I say calcium? Calcium. So these things are all important to talk about as well, because not only do we use them for healthy muscle function, we sweat them out as well. So what's sort of the RDA for sodium? Sodium is 1.6 grams a day. If you are an athlete or you are in a hot, humid environment where you're doing a lot of sweating and you're very active, you're going to need more. Remember, these RDAs are for the majority of people, and here in America, unfortunately, the majority of us are what we would classify as sedentary or non-active individuals. It means we do not get enough physical activity. So if you're in the gym, you're going to need a little bit more. The thing that you have to worry about with sodium is if you have high blood pressure. Because remember, water and sodium increase blood volume, right? So what is blood pressure? It is the pressure of the blood against the blood vessels. So if our blood vessel is this big and we have this much water, blood pressure is low. The more water that we have in there pressing out against it, the higher blood pressure becomes. So if blood pressure is an issue for you, this is something that you need to discuss specifically with your doctor. Now, there is a big range of sodium because when we talk about sodium, if we have too much, our kidneys do the opposite, right? So instead of holding everything in, it allows our body to pee everything back out. So as long as you have healthy kidney function, you normally can get away with a range of salts or other electrolytes, and you're gonna be okay. If you want to perform at your best, you want to be well hydrated, and you want to have a good electrolyte balance within your body. I have actually seen it to the point where I have seen studies that have looked at things like calcium, which is important for muscle contractions, that what they showed was people who were extremely calcium deficient actually burned more calories when they got their calcium levels up to normal levels. Most likely simply because they were having improved muscle function, which means that they could burn more calories doing the activities. So, next time you are thirsty, drink. When we talk about performance, there is no good set recommendation on how to maximize performance for your water intake. We know that there's kind of this basis, right? There's this minimum, don't be dehydrated. If you're thirsty, drink. Make sure that your electrolytes are good. But the high end is hyperhydration, right? Where we wash out everything. We drink so much that we wash out all the sodium, we wash out the electrolytes, and now we no longer have healthy muscle function, and what we can see is people have actually had heart attacks. This is extremely hard to do. Extremely hard to do. You have to drink a lot of water for that. Realistically, the vast majority of people are not going to have to worry about hyperhydration. The amount of water that you would have to drink is so great that you're not going to want to be drinking water anymore. You're going to be forcing yourself to drink water to actually achieve that hyperhydration status. So it is a thing, it does exist, but it's something that you're legitimately going to have to work to do. If you're having a normal diet with normal electrolyte levels, normal salt levels, it's just not something that's going to happen. So if you've heard that you can drink too much water, technically yes, realistically it should not be a concern. If you are worried about drinking too much water, look at something like an electrolyte beverage. Gatorade, Powerade, they have 0-calorie options as well. Take that to the gym with you, take that when you go out to do cardio, and utilize that as a way to help, one, rehydrate yourself, but also replenish those electrolytes as well, so that you can continue to perform on a high level. So anyways guys, that is it for the day. Water is the name of the game. Stay hydrated. Remember, if you're thirsty, drink. Make sure you pay attention to all of your salts, and that is how we're going to perform well, stay healthy, and be in this for the long haul. If you do have high blood pressure issues, consult your physician beforehand and figure out what is going to be the best resource for you to utilize in order to enhance performance. Alright guys, I hope you have a great one.